Dark Elves got some very minor campaign tweaks, but didn't really get much meaningful changes in multiplayer. In fact, I don't know if they got any changes at all. Maybe just the Black Dragon mount got a little bit of a buff, but today, Rider Rohan's going to try and take said Black Dragon mount against new Norsca. His opponent here is Seagau's, definitely a great player as well. So let's take a look here. Just Soul Stealer, and of course the Breath Attack on the Dragon. We've got a couple of Scourge Runner Chariots, and some Black Ark Corsairs, Bleak Swords, and 3 Doomfire Warlocks, plus Sister of Slaughter. Doomfire Warlocks, pretty interesting choice here. They've got magic, damage, just high weapon strength overall, somewhat of glass cannons, but with their bound stuff, they can do some pretty good work against enemies relying on physical resistance and with low armor, which definitely describes Norsca. Sail here, leading the way. We've got some Marauders up front. Kurgan Horsemen, great weapons, 4 of them, 2 on each flank, backed up by some Ice Wolves, backed up by some Skin Wolves. So this is a pretty common setup this patch, from what I've seen so far, for Norsca mobility. Quite a lot of power in these various units. Beasts of Tashnar in here as well for a little bit of anti-large. So Scourge Runner Chariots and the rest of Rider Rohan's army definitely got their work cut out for them. Sail's going to unleash his little magic missile. Does some decent damage to the Supreme Sorceress, but at least the HP of the dragon can absorb that. And of course, Soul Stealer as well can try and restore some of that HP. We do have a Dreadmaw here who is burrowing and pursuing. Black Ark Corsair handbows. Let's see if it pops up. Yeah, Rider right now mostly avoiding. The Dreadmaw does require some micro to use effectively. Let's see how well it does here. But big escalated fight in the front line. Both players charging in quite a bit of mobility. I think they kind of jumped in to try and catch the chariots, but right now the Kurgan Horseman doesn't look like got contact on the chariots at all. And a big Soul Stealer, Soul Blight. All the souls being ripped out of the bodies in this particular fight. We're going to see Nightmaw unleashed as well. There it is. For a total of 1 second. And the Dreadmaw also pops up in this engagement in the front line. So both players taking some damage, but actually Doomfire Warlocks doing pretty well in terms of trading. Yeah, they absolutely wreck these Kurgan Horsemen, and the other support is a little bit late. Ice Wolves get in there, should maybe be able to finish things off. But Soul Blight plus the poison gives them a pretty massive weapon strength debuff. Yeah, 40% overall weapon strength down, so the Doomfire Warlocks' lack of armor is offset somewhat by that. Of course, Doomfire Warlocks themselves also have pretty good physical resistance, so taking surprisingly little damage actually in that engagement. Skin Wolves as well, I mean, they have base 20% physical resistance, so they definitely get punished by the Doomfire Warlocks. Big murderous prowess kicking off as we've got Dark Riders getting really cost-effective engagement against Kurgan Horsemen. Dark Riders, some of the cheapest, most cost-effective light cavalry in the game when used well. The Chariots also have been pretty well protected here. Got a lot of their ammunition still online to deal with some of these large threats. The Dragon also making its presence felt as it drops on these Skin Wolves here in the center. So yeah, Marauders trying to get in to support where they can, but Sisters of Slaughter also just absolutely charging up their abilities. Just kidding, they don't actually... There's Trial of Blades. Yeah, it's a little bit of an odd one, but they're doing well overall. High speed, they can kind of pursue some various units. Get some map presence, and a little bit of Soul Stealer does hit the Dreadmaw. I don't know if it's been able to do much, actually, considering it's more of a kind of mobility, not totally mobility-focused army from Rider Rohan, but a mobile army at the very least, with various units that can kind of reposition. Mostly just the Swordsmen are like a viable target, but yeah, Sail just gets absolutely crushed here by the Dragon. The Scourge Chariots also, I think, is focusing him down a little bit here. Probably will finish him off, maybe. We'll see. Right now they're getting some shots on the Skin Wolves, although this unit, ooh, it's going to try and get away here. Soul Blight there. Again, bound Soul Blight from those Doomfire Warlocks. And, oh yeah, there we go. Doombolt just to try and finish off Sail. Also from one of the Doomfire Warlocks. Does it have that long a range? I guess this one here is probably close enough. Doesn't quite finish him off, but pretty much ensures he's not going to come back from route. So let's see. We'll get a nice wide view as the Scourge Runners over on that far side. Yeah, they're going to keep going, keep kiting, get some damage on the units chasing. Meanwhile, over here, the Dreadmaw fighting. Some Doomfire Warlocks taking some shots. Corsairs are a decent ranged unit to have in a situation like this because, oh, there we go, army losses kicking in, or maybe Norsca just throwing in the towel. Yeah, I mean, the Corsairs are a nice one because they have 360 shooting. I feel like any infantry with 360 shooting and decent enough speed can kind of reposition and really give the Dreadmaw a hard time. It's like one of the few things that works decently well against the Dreadmaw, and as soon as it surfaces, they can kind of get some close range damage, which granted does have some missile resistance, but here, even with its value not tracking correctly, I don't think it paid for itself, which is interesting. I have seen some talk about limiting the Dreadmaws already to 1 per army, just because they are so hard for certain factions to deal with. But Dark Elves, I mean, you've got the Corsairs, you got also the Scourge Runner Chariots, which I don't know if they really got much shooting on the Dreadmaw, but regardless, are a unit that can reposition. They're also not really threatened by the Dreadmaw's attacks too much. It's going to be pretty hard to surface directly under chariots, and then they can just run away anyway, so there you go. Yeah, the Doomfire Warlocks as well, trading pretty favorably, especially when you consider the support value, and also had quite a bit of unit models and HP left at the end. Sisters of Slaughter, a nice include just for some really nice counter infantry punch, just a little bit more of a quality infantry as well. So yeah, Seagau's here, quite a mobile build, and some units end up doing alright, like some of the Kurgan Horsemen get some respectable value. The Skin Wolves, not so much. They get pretty hard countered, it seemed like, by the Doomfire Warlocks there. Ice Wolves also, one of them pays for themselves, the other ones kind of struggle a little bit here, so very interesting game for sure, very wild, kind of all over the place game, but yeah, Dark Elves, even though they haven't had any updates in quite some time, I don't know if they're going to get any more updates. I mean, we'll have to see what they have planned after Nagash DLC, but I would be very surprised if Dark Elves got anything more there. But as it stands right now, Doomfire Warlocks are a unit that I have bad-mouthed a bit in the past, but recently definitely been seeing them do well. Again, in certain applications where that magic, frenzy, kind of poison, like high DPS, with surprisingly tanky results, with that 40% physical resistance, plus the poison, plus the soul blight, means as long as their opponents don't have too much magic damage or just high damage overall, they can actually survive decently well, as we saw there. And I would even say that Norsca and Ice Wolves are a unit, and so are Skin Wolves, that just have pretty good overall damage. Yeah, 48 weapon strength on these Norsca and Ice Wolves is definitely not bad. And then the Skin Wolves here, 60 weapon strength on them with a 30 bonus versus large, so quite beefy. But at the end of the day, both units are also quite squishy with low melee defense, only physical resistance on Skin Wolves, which isn't really going to matter much here. Of course, they have regeneration as well, but then, yeah, the Norsca and Ice Wolves don't really have much in the way of defensive stats at all, besides just a beefy HP pool. So, yeah, Doomfire Warlocks tend to trade very well there, and then, yeah, like Black Ark Corsairs, or obviously for Wood Elves, yeah, you're like Deepwood Scouts or Way Watchers. These are going to be the kinds of units that can do well. Granted, 25% missile resistance to Dreadmaw is pretty decent, but against especially very accurate shooting, it definitely will take a decent amount of damage. Still think they should lower this HP pool, just because for a unit of this price, to have that much HP, I mean, yeah, it's quite a bit, to be honest. But there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.